Welcome back to Hustle Culture. Today I'm bringing on a guest that's been a longtime client of mine since around the time that he wanted to build an online business. I was introed to Alan by someone else, and the relationship has manifested into something pretty great. And the relationship that I have now with Alan, that is a client, it almost feels like a friendship, even though we're in completely different countries, pretty far away from each other. So, in this episode, I'll take a deep dive into Alan and how he left his family business to pursue an online company that he started from scratch, which he hopes that one day will grow into a globally recognized brand. So, here it is. You're listening to Hustle Culture, a podcast that shows you how to take your hustle to the next level. I'm Jordan Glickman, a 24-year-old homeless entrepreneur who's constantly looking for a better way. Whether it be maximizing work-life balance while trying to reach my first 7 figures, or taking advantage of credit card points and biohacking my way to optimal health and efficiency, I'm all about it. Regardless if you're an entrepreneur or not, I invite you to join me in my journey of constant self-development. Join me and my guest as we deliver real value and actionable steps to embrace and make the most out of your hustle. Hey, Alan, thanks for coming on the show and for sharing some of your valuable time with us. So I want to go ahead and kick things off. I've already given a little intro about you and who you are, but if you'll go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself, how old you are, where you're staying, what you're doing, and all the cool things about yourself, and then we'll kind of get a deep dive into your life and your experiences that you've had.
My name is Alan Scanlon. I'm from Ireland originally. Have been living in Hong Kong for just over 3 years. My background with my family business, I suppose, is importing goods from the Far East into Ireland and the UK, which they've been doing since the early 70s. So I was working in the family business for 8 years before I moved out to Hong Kong. Decided I wanted to do my own thing. Got out here, set up a sourcing business, and at the end of 2018 started a new project for my latest company, which is Earned Athletic, and have been working on both of those ever since.
Awesome. So this earned athletic business, I think that's probably the one we want to focus on today. So, in short, from what I know about it, it's an online e-commerce business that you've started with some good friends of yours. But if you could tell us more about kind of how that came about and where it is today and where you want to take it, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. So I started doing CrossFit when I'm just before I moved out to Hong Kong, and then joined a gym out here called Coastal Fitness, and which is run and owned by two brothers, Ed and Ant Haynes. So Ed being the kind of, I suppose, the coach side of things and the programmer for the gym, and Ant being a CrossFit athlete who went to the games last year and had qualified this year, but that's all being canned because of the virus situation. So I love the culture in the gym and what those guys have built. So I was always looking at thinking about different angles about how they would expand and what they would do. Initially thinking about gym equipment that they could do for the gym brand. And then I came up with the idea of the apparel. I follow a couple of other brands, Gymshark in the UK, Alphalete in the US, and a few other similar type of apparel gym brands that I thought, well, hey, if those guys can do it and there's a place in the market for them, why wouldn't we be able to do it in Asia? Had a look around. There's not really a lot of people doing it at the kind of level that I want to bring things to. So put together a pitch and approached Ed. He really liked the idea. So we just said we'd start working on things. My background being in sourcing and manufacturing in China. So I said I would get everything set up, would source a factory, would get samples made, and we kind of go from there. So spent the guts. I predicted it would take about 8 to 12 months by the time we got the right factory, got the right samples and mass production done, got everything set up in terms of the back end of the business, website, marketing, social media side of things. And then, we launched in December 2019 in the middle of protests in Hong Kong, which wasn't ideal. And then obviously the coronavirus coming in, but it's been pretty good. I can't complain about sales, and we're getting ready for launch 2 in July, August time. We're bringing out more ranges of clothing and then adding in a few other bits and pieces, backpack and water bottle and drawstring bag. So just broadening the collection, which I'm looking forward to giving people more diversity and more choices, which I think is going to be very important just from what I've learned over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So with starting an apparel and a clothing brand, I find it very interesting as to why people do what they do and everything. So, obviously you were looking for a way to help the guys expand their current business and to kind of create some additional income and everything. But, what's your kind of personal and genuine purpose and the why of what you're doing everything long term? Whether it's trying to create financial freedom or trying to buy back time or wanting to give other people jobs and more opportunities. Like what's your purpose in creating a clothing and apparel brand? Or does it have to do with the genuine want to, what the apparel brand stands for and what it's going to do for other people? What is your purpose and your why with this journey?
It's something that in building this business, it's actually something that's changed over the time. I never would have thought about the why a lot before. I mean, when I left, I wanted to leave the family business just because I needed to get away from the family business. The kind of working with your brothers and your sisters can definitely be challenging. And I'd never thought about it at that stage. I wanted to move to Hong Kong because I loved it out here. And when I met Ed and Ant, I suppose Ed especially is very focused on the why all the time, why we're doing this, like making sure that everything is being done for a reason. So he's really kind of instilled that in me, which is brilliant. I always was looking at different angles with companies. I suppose I'd be quite entrepreneurial in terms of coming up with ideas and trying to get different products out there and always trying to work on different things, and definitely had some failures over the last couple of years in that. Which has definitely helped but the real focus and the why with me, which has grown over the last sort of 18 months, is being able to wake up and jump into a business that I love and that doesn't feel like work. And I really want to build to a stage where, like at the moment, I'm working out of home and the lads have their gym and their offices there, but I want to work to a stage where we have an earned athletic office where people are coming in and they love working in the business, where it's creative, where it's fun. And that to me is the real kind of why I'm doing this. Building the brand has been amazing to see it like start from nothing and then growing into samples and growing into production and getting feedback from people, which is something I never thought would really matter. But when random people send you messages saying they love the brand, they love the quality, they love what we stand for, the message we're putting out there, that really means a lot. And that's something that is definitely, like, I want more of that, and I want that at a bigger scale. And it's just, obviously there's financial goals involved in this. Like, I want to be able to have this as my full-time job and have a decent lifestyle out of it. But I've really come to sort of like not believe, but really come to the understanding that having that feedback and having those messages and having something, I suppose, a job space and an area of creativity and fun for people to come in and work involved is something that really means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all that you have going on right now and wanting to work towards that office and everything, what is your biggest focus right now to be able to kind of get to that next phase for the business?
It's really getting the brand out there. So it's something that keeps on coming up and something that I'm learning more and more, that it's just trying to get brand awareness, trying to get it out there, people seeing it. You can have the greatest product in the world, but if people don't know about it, you're not going to sell it. So there's hundreds of brands all over the world that are selling on Instagram and selling on Facebook and using ambassadors. So it's just trying to weave your way through the traffic and trying to get it out there in front of people. And I think that just takes time. So we are getting the ads out there and we're bringing more product out. So the real focus is to bring out more ranges, keep pushing ads on social media, doing as many things like this podcast as possible, like interviews with magazines and newspapers, We were meant to do a lot of shows this year, CrossFit shows and events around Asia, but they all got cancelled. So a focus on that next year, looking at sponsoring different competitions in whether it's Vietnam or the Philippines or anything like that. So it's a real focus on brand awareness. We're obviously not pulling any money out for ourselves at the moment. So everything's going back into the business. All profits are going back in, and it's just getting the brand out there. I really just, getting our message out there, which is a real focus of ours as well, of like, again, back to the why we're doing this and putting out the right message to build a community and to build, just to build a community around the brand is something that we're really focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. So this may touch on that one, but with building this business from complete scratch, you've created the brand, you've created the website, you've created the marketing, you've created the plan. What has been so far, because you're really in the beginning of the journey, and I think this is one that a lot of successful people start to forget as they start to gain some traction in their business and success. What has been one of the biggest struggles that you've faced so far or are currently facing, and what's been your action plan to overcome it?
Again, it's just back to getting the brand out there. Has been, I suppose, the major struggle. We are working with ambassadors, and we've just brought in different ambassadors, one from New Zealand, Pakistan, a couple from Thailand, where else? One guy from Oz. So it's using them to get the brand out there. And again, back to the point, I think it's just going to take time. Like, obviously, I want everything done as quickly as possible and pushed out as quickly as possible. But if the brand is going to be genuine and accepted and not come across as bullshit or fake, I think it's a matter of building. That's just really the hardest thing for us, because there's definitely been some challenges in regards to the product we bring out, and I suppose the quality is something that we're very focused on. So there's been one or two of our items that we're not 100% happy about, and we shouldn't have released it, but it was kind of, we wanted to get something out, and we kind of pushed it to have a bigger collection. So that's been challenging as well. And my two business partners are very much like, we're not putting anything out unless we're 100% happy about it, and we would 100% wear it, which is, again, brilliant for me that they really push those quality boundaries and making sure the product is 100% right. So that's been challenging as well, because it causes delays if we get a sample made and it's not right and the quality isn't there, because you're back and forth with the factory as well. But the main thing is getting the brand out there and getting it in front of people has been the most challenging thing. And I think the way around it is more ambassadors who fall under our values, which is something that's very important as well. They have to align with the brand. So it's finding those right people as well, which is, over the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to lots of them on the phone, which has been brilliant and really sort of hyped me up again. And talking to people all over the world who do share the same values, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one other business struggle I want to try to get you to touch on that, I was very aware of it when it kind of came about, and that's when COVID started to hit, especially here in Southeast Asia. And as an apparel brand, people may not be as interested in spending $60-$70 on a t-shirt in the times of COVID. So for yourself, can you talk a little bit about how you guys pivoted, specifically with the equipment that you guys were able to come out with so quickly, get it up and start making sales on it immediately? I think that's been, a great kind of little mini success for you guys along this journey so far.
Yeah, it was, when it hit, I suppose we were affected on the Chinese end because the manufacturers were all shut down. So that it was just after Chinese New Year when everything really got bad there. So it was about the cause delays with sampling, etc., from the Chinese manufacturing side for about 6 to 8 weeks, which wasn't ideal. And then obviously China opened back up and everywhere else got hit hard. So Hong Kong shut down relatively quickly, and like, people don't, if they're staying at home and the gyms are closing down, people don't want to buy any clothing. So that definitely affected us, and we looked into sort of several different products, but landed on our aqua bag. So essentially, it was a sandbag, but you fill it up with water instead. So a lot more convenient, and packs down into a smaller size, and you can bring it out anywhere and fill it up in a tap or a hose, anywhere you can find. So it was definitely something we'd never thought about before. But as you said, we needed to pivot and just keep the momentum going and keep people coming back to the website. And it definitely helped with some clothing sales as well. So it created a really good buzz. We turned it around relatively quickly. It would have been great, I think, if we had done it maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier, because we missed the Hong Kong lockdown. But we have had sales from all over the world for it. And the interesting thing as well is, like, people in the UK or in the US buying it and spending as much money on shipping as they are on the product, because they're so desperate for gym gear at the moment, which is another thing I've learned, is that trying to buy gym equipment at the moment is near impossible with factories in China as well. It's sales have gone through the roof of that, of people buying home gyms and manufacturers buying it. So yeah, I mean, it's made me kind of think as well, moving forward, about that type of product. I was only talking to someone yesterday of, like, why couldn't we have earned weights? I mean, I've worked with factories over the years who make that stuff and make gym equipment for specifically CrossFit factories as well. So I think it's something to keep in mind, and it would make sense for the brand as well. Like, it wouldn't be unusual if we could sell whatever it is, bars and weights and specific gym equipment to go along with the apparel range. So it's something that I definitely want to look at moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a great, I thought it was a great pivot, and it was, being within COVID and this, not new kind of speed bump in the road is just all about how you handle it, right? There's so many agencies that do what I do that I've seen that they've been shut down, and other ones that have, completely taken off massively. Yeah. So it's all about how you react to it.
100%. And now even I'm talking to a guy in Brazil, and I'm talking to a guy in Guam who want to take the Aquabag on and distribute it there. So, like, that's us now kind of acting as a wholesaler. And again, that's something that I'd never thought about before, but now I'm going, like, that makes complete sense, because being based in Hong Kong and our warehousing here, shipping goods all around the world, like, our platform allows us to ship worldwide, but it's very expensive to ship from Hong Kong to the US or to South America or to the UK. Depending, obviously, we have lots of options, and you can pick the cheaper option, but then you've delays, and especially with what's going on at the moment, we're dealing with some delays with courier companies. But having these people approach us now looking for distribution, it's just kind of got the brain thinking in a different way of, why don't we look at doing that all over the world, or looking at different warehousing options in different parts of the world moving forward as well, so shipping's cheaper. And there's lots of companies all over the place that do that, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with all of this kind of, push and persistence to get this brand up and get the brand awareness out and going, and living in Hong Kong, a very fast paced kind of place, similar to New York, if you will.
Yeah.
How do you balance the times of, your own kind of work, and then also, like, your home life as well too, and really create that separation where you're able to kind of keep clarity and everything within your day-to-day kind of work as well?
Well, I think I'm a bit like you in that sense, where it's kind of hard to turn off. My old man was always like, with the family business, it's 24/7. It's not a 9 to 5 situation. Now, I don't think necessarily that's very healthy as well. And there's definitely times where you have to shut off, because you just can't deal with it all. So, one big thing with me is, and again, I got this from my business partner Ed, is controlling the controllables. So, sort of bookending your day. I have my phone, my emails get shut off at 8 p.m. And then my phone is shut off at 9. I go to bed relatively early, and then when I get up in the morning, I wake up about 6:30. My phone and all my apps don't go on till 7, so I kind of get up and stretch and have my coffee and have a chat with my girlfriend before she heads off to work, and then sort of get ready for the day, I suppose. Like, I feel if you're waking up, and I used to do it, and the first thing I'd look at my phone, and you're opening yourself to the kind of, to like you're opening a can of worms. If you look at something and it's going to be a problem or there's an issue, you want to get at it straight away. And for me, it causes a bit of anxiety because I need to do it. I need to jump straight on the emails, jump straight on and try and sort that problem out or get working on it. But if everything's shut off until a certain time and you get used to that routine, I just think it's a much better place to start the day and keeps your mind a bit more focused on just starting the day in the right way and ending it in the right way. So I've been doing that for quite a while now, which is a nice routine. And then I go to the gym. Go to the gym about 5 times a week at lunchtime, which is a nice kind of break up for the day for me. And again, that just kind of, if you're in a bad mood or something's annoyed you in work, I always find going to the gym is a great way to flush that out and burn off some of that energy. And just, yeah, it's a real, I heard someone say it a while ago actually, because about meditation, and I'm not great at meditating. I just think more and more about work stuff when I try and meditate, but they were saying they use the gym as their meditation. And I suppose that's, like, it makes sense. It's a good way to keep fresh and keep the mind focused.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. I mean, on the basis of just being able to control like your apps and stuff like that, even alone, it's an incredible way to, again, just taking control of the controllables, like you said, from Ed is, it's a smart move, and being able to do that, it takes some discipline, but the outcome of doing that is nothing but positive. I've done it for myself where I get only 5 minutes of Instagram and Facebook a day.
Yeah.
And you can see where your level of focus is and then where it goes to next. And, it changes drastically where your effort and your focus are and how much time you're putting into certain things. So, it's definitely taking control of that and being able to take control of your work-life balance, if you will. Even if it is like not structured where Saturdays and Sundays are off, because I think both of us, we don't take those days completely off. But I think just being able to understand how to control certain things is really important for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you said, like I actually love getting up on a Saturday morning, on a Sunday morning and doing a bit of work. It makes me feel much better. So, and it was last night, I just think it's a bit weird that I was like, it was Saturday night as well, looking forward to going to bed early, that I could wake up, and I knew we had this, so I was like planning on getting up at around 7 and just doing a bit of work that I knew it could have waited till Monday, but I enjoy it, and it makes me feel a bit better about myself as well. Now I won't sit here working all day, but it's just getting that kind of hour in the morning on the weekends, it's just always, I don't know, it kind of I suppose makes me feel a bit more or less anxious going into the week, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's just keeping that momentum going by consistently working at your goal, right? I mean, your goal is to build a big brand and get an office one day and so on. And so I think if you just expect that you're going to work Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, you're going to have a very tough time achieving that. And so, even for people that are employees in the workplace, if they think they can work from 9 to 5 and achieve getting to that next level or getting the next level of pay or getting a raise, whatever it is, I think they're going to be sadly mistaken in any way. So, I used to be bashed for it all the time, how hard and how much I worked, but, I could not be more satisfied with pushing through on that.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think on that note, just being satisfied with what choices I've made, would you do anything differently that you have done if you were given the opportunity to do that?
I've thought about this quite a bit, and I think I would have loved to come out to Hong Kong earlier. I moved out here when I was 32. So I think, but then again, if I'd come out earlier, things could have been very different as well. Like you're coming out at a different stage of your life, where I suppose when I was in my 20s, I used to go out a lot more and sort of party a lot more at the weekends. And I think if in Hong Kong, I don't know if you've ever had a weekend out here, it can get pretty crazy. So also a lot of people come out here and get very burnt out quickly and leave the place. So it's a hard one. Yeah, I wish maybe I'd come out a bit earlier, because it's such a vibrant city, and a real buzzy place for work as well. Like everyone who's out here is very driven and very ambitious. So that the whole thing about being around people who are like that really definitely works, because the lazy days you have, you're like, well, someone else or the lads or my friends are out doing this and being successful and doing well in their job. So it really gives you a kick in the ass. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, because again, yeah, like I wish maybe I'd come out earlier and I could have started earned a bit earlier and I'd be a bit further down the line. But then again, I could be doing something completely different.
Yeah, I think most people don't regret the decisions they've made in most cases, but I think, I think probably a reoccurring theme with most people that I've talked to and am probably going to talk to, it's going to be that they wish they started sooner. And I think, that's a common trait for most entrepreneurs, because once you know what you know, you know that you'll be even farther in the future. So, if I knew what I knew about marketing back when I had my training business, who knows, maybe I'd be still training and I'd be doing that full time and be a YouTuber or something. I mean, who absolutely knows? But
it's just so hard to tell. It's so hard to grasp it. And as well, the whole thing about this is, and it's something that you hear a lot, but it really is true. It's the whole process of building the business. And this is like, everyone's always like, oh yeah, I want to get to the stage where I'm making millions and I've got this big company. But it's all this part, which is brilliant. Like, this is the exciting part of building something and getting it out there. And it goes in stages. Like, I think back to a year and a half ago, and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm at this stage now, because we're about to do a new range. But then sometimes I think, oh, I can't wait to be a year down the line, because then we'll have another range out, or another couple of ranges. But you got to remember, or try to live in the present as well. I just think that's important, to enjoy it while you're building it. And you hear so many people say that now, that it's the building, it's the process, it's not the end game. And all these successful entrepreneurs who are saying it, like, they're not just saying it for the sake of saying it. It is true, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to push us into a fire round really quickly, where we're going to go through just 3 questions that you're not expecting. And feel free to answer them as quick as you want, or if you feel like they need a little bit more time and thought, then go for it. But we'll push through these 3, and then I've got about 2 or 3 other questions that'll wrap things up, and then I'll let you get on with your day here after that.
Cool.
Awesome. So the first question in the fire round is, if everything restarted tomorrow and Earned Athletic was gone, but you still were able to keep all of the knowledge that you have today, what's your next step? What's the backup plan?
Start a new business.
Yeah. Do you have any idea what you would start or what you would do?
I mean, I don't think it really matters about the product, because I now know how to set up a company. I knew the sourcing side of things. I've learned a lot more about the marketing, the social media, the influencer side of things. So it's really about finding a product that people want, rather than actually, I suppose, doing something that has a huge amount of meaning to me, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So what monetary goals do you have personally, and why do you have them? So for example, if you want to make $10 million and have that in the bank, and what do you want to do with it? Do you want to be able to go to the moon, or what kind of aspirational goals do you have behind those monetary motives?
Nothing really, to be honest. All of my goals that I've written down are all business focused. I did put down one personal one, because I was like, I need to put down something, which is to buy a Mercedes G-Wagon, but I don't even think you need a car in Hong Kong. So that was just really, really just something that I'm not even that big a car person.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be financially stable. I don't want to have to worry about it. But I also realize that you don't need to be a multi-millionaire to have a huge amount of the things that you really need in life. So, I mean, I like going out for meals. So I'd like to be in a situation where I can go out for a meal once a week or twice a week, to be able to go on a couple of holidays a year and be in a comfortable situation in a nice apartment in Hong Kong. So it's something I've realized since moving out here. You don't need to be making $1 million a year to live a comfortable life.
Yeah.
So, I don't really have too many personal goals.
That's okay. So the last question, I might know the answer to it, so I'll have a follow-up question for you, is if I were to give you $100,000 cash tomorrow, but you can't invest it into Earned Athletic, what would you do with it?
So I think I would I'd like to look into an e-commerce Amazon business, something that I've looked at over the years, but never jumped into. So again, with the sourcing and manufacturing background, it's easy for me to get my hands on product. And I'd like to try have a brand or a company that sells on Amazon. I looked at it with one of our family brands, Bailey and Brook, and sort of got to a certain stage of setting it up, and then it gets very complicated. So I think you need to work with an Amazon expert.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that would be something of interest.
So funny you say that is the past person I just interviewed as well was actually the COO of a private equity Amazon acquisition private entity, if you will. And so they essentially just buy businesses that are on Amazon and they grow them and scale them themselves and sometimes sell them. And yeah, it's a very interesting business model. So I'm quite familiar with Amazon myself, but it's definitely it's no small feat putting up an Amazon business, just like any other business. It's not that simple,
Yeah,
of course.
exactly. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So with all of that said, what is one actionable piece of advice the audience can do to make a difference in their life? Not just thinking bigger or working harder, but what's something that they can actually take action on that they can literally implement right now to, whether it's obtaining, more personal growth and personal development, or it's even, just getting farther in their life. And again, it could be as simple as what you've done with controlling the controllables, but do you have any actionable piece of advice that the audience can literally start doing right now to make a difference in their life?
I was gonna use controlling the controllables again. It's just had a big impact on me, on how I operate, with having the phone off in the mornings and at night time. I suppose it's really about, like as you said, about taking action. I mean, I moved out to Hong Kong, which was a big step for me, and something that I needed to do. Wasn't particularly happy working in the family business. So taking that kind of action now, obviously moving country is a big one for most people, but it's the kick that I needed to go to really try get things started and take me out of my comfort zone. So I suppose that's a good one, getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, I was sitting in the family office every day, and life was just easy. Like I didn't think it at the time, but until I got out of it and out of that situation and that kind of glass bowl, that I didn't realize that I was kind of sitting around not putting a lot of effort in. And once I got out to Hong Kong and life got a bit more difficult, and I was fending for myself. So getting out of your comfort zone would be a big one. And just doing it, I suppose, just finding a way. I mean, I had the sourcing and the manufacturing stuff. I knew that, but like I didn't know how to do like working with a fulfillment company. I didn't know about marketing, social media, influencers, all that sort of stuff. And it's just about learning about it, trying to find someone who can do it and who can help you, and just going after it.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all of that said, if someone wants to know more about either your e-commerce brand, how you've done it, or if they even want to know about your importing business and such, what are some good ways that people can get a hold of you?
The best thing would be my LinkedIn. So that kind of I push content on Earn Athletic and then on the sourcing side of things as well, and a bit on the family business. So you can get me on my LinkedIn. And then for Earned, our website is earnedathleticapparel.com, and our Instagram handle is the same. So yeah, that'd be the easiest ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. And so the very last question for you before we wrap this up and I'll let you go on your day is, who is one other person that you know has had some great success or has a really, really interesting story that we could probably get on the podcast in the next couple of weeks that you'd recommend?
My business partner, Ed, would be a good one. What he's done with Coastal Fitness would be a good one. And then I'm not sure if you've spoken to Rico, who in SourceFind Asia, who's my business partner with the sourcing thing, who actually introduced us. So I'm not sure if you've spoken to him, but yeah, no, Rico and Ed would be two good ones. Let me think. Do I know anyone else? Yeah, in terms of kind of starting their own businesses and being entrepreneurs, those would be two of the best people, I think.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's great. I I know both of those people decently well, so I think and agree that they would definitely be great people to have on the podcast to share their stories, because they've definitely got some really good ones. So I appreciate that.
Cool.
Awesome. So I think that's pretty much it for me, unless you have some final comments. But otherwise, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing some of your valuable time with myself and the audience as well. And hopefully, we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Take care, Alan.
Cheers.
Hey there, hustlers. That's this week's episode of the Hustle Culture Podcast. Thank you again for listening, and don't forget to join us next week for another episode. If you're able to take away any bit of value from this episode and you want to support the channel, there are 3 things that you could do that would massively support me and the team that make all of this possible. The first one is to leave a review wherever you're listening to this podcast at. The second one would be to share it with a friend. And the third one would be to head over to jordanglickman.com, go to the resource tab, and I've compiled all of the best resources and tools that I use, from amassing as many credit card points as I have to structuring my day. I know it will be a great resource to most people listening. That's all for me today, and thank you again for tuning in to Hustle Culture.